What's going on, CK Nation? It's your boy, the Boss Man CK, and on today's episode of the Full Throttle, what a weekend of racing we had this past weekend. From Pocono Raceway all across to the short track racing world. Today we're going to break down a huge weekend that saw Gio Ruggiero pretty much dominate the ARCA Menard Series and get a win, to Justin Allgaier surviving a wild O'Reilly's race to get his 5th win of the year, and Denny Hamlin continuing one of the hottest streaks in NASCAR by winning his 3rd straight Cup Series race, and good old Kevin Harvick returning to victory lane in the Cars Tours West competition. Also, we're going to discuss the continued struggles in for the Ford camp in NASCAR. What's going on? They're not as strong this year. And why Legacy Motor Club may be showing signs of becoming, I would say, a serious contender, but they're starting to turn it around. We're going to cover this all and more on the Full Throttle. So buckle up. We're all gas, no brakes, and let's go full throttle. Alrighty, so the racing action this weekend, like I said, we were at Pocono. The trucks had the weekend off. So we had ARCA Series action. We had O'Reilly's back in action after they had the weekend off last weekend. And we had Cup Series running this past weekend. So the action began on Friday at the Tricky Triangle, what everybody calls a Tricky Triangle. And once again, Gio Ruggiero showed why he is one of the brightest young up-and-coming stars in stock car racing. Driving the number 18 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, Ruggiero put together a dominant performance and captured his 4th, that's right, you heard it, 4th, ARCA Menard Series win this season. And what I could say probably was a dominating fashion, because once he got the lead, there was no running him down. From the moment the green flag dropped, Ruggiero looked like the driver to beat. He controlled the race, managed the restarts perfectly, and never allowed the competition to seriously challenge him for the lead. Also, though, we got to give a shout out to Lainey Boos for winning the pole. She did run well for that 7017, which is part owned by Pinnacle and Spire. So congrats to her. She did have a solid run though. This season has been a breakout year for the young driver. Every week he seems to get stronger and stronger when he is in the ARCA races. He's always in the talks of winning or going to victory lane. You're always wondering, Gio's in that 18 car, what's going to happen? And it was a back-to-back win for him, because you got to figure last week as well, he won at Michigan in the rain-shortened race. And this week, he went to victory lane again. Joe Gibbs Racing has a long history of developing future NASCAR stars, and Gio Ruggiero appears to be the next name on that list. The impressive part isn't just the wins, it's how he wins. Like I said, once he gets out front and he gets in that clean air, he makes what everybody says, that clean air is king. He does that. He races with patience, maturity, and confidence far beyond his years. The impressive part isn't just the wins, though. It's how he wins. When you look at the future of NASCAR, Gio Ruggiero is absolutely a name a fan should keep an eye on. Like I said, he's a few years from a cup ride, but he is in the trucks with Tricon. And he is running solid top 5 in points in trucks right now. I don't know if he'll get a championship this year. You never know. But you give him another year or 2 in trucks, then maybe he gets O'Reilly's ride when Brent Cruz moves up to the Cup. Gio's going to be solid. When you look at the future NASCAR, like I said, his name is absolutely one you should keep an eye on. And with the ARCA race complete, all eyes shifted to Saturday's O'Reilly Series Showdown. All right, Saturday's race delivered excitement from start to finish. The O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series drivers put on an incredible show at Pocono, featuring multiple lead changes, aggressive racing, and several late race restarts that kept fans on the edge of their seat. Also, lap 1, we had a wreck with Corey Day. It was a nasty hit. It was for sure a nasty hit, but he was all right. Thank God for all the safety measures that they brought in the NASCAR now. But it was kind of a bad luck situation for him, but he was able, like I said, I don't think it's really going to affect him too much. He'll be solid, and he'll still be in the chase for that O'Reilly's championship. But when it was all over, Justin Allgaier, as everybody calls him Gator, found himself standing in victory lane for the 5th time this season. Yes, number 5. The Junior Motorsports veteran continues to put one of the strongest seasons of his career together. And it's crazy, too, that this is happening for him when he's on the talks of, does he come back next year? Is he going to retire? What's he going to do? Well, I can tell you he's a solid bet that he's going to win his 2nd championship. With that win Saturday, he upped his points lead to over 250 points. So he's going to be solid this year and a strong competitor for that O'Reilly's championship. Allgaier fought through traffic, survived the late race chaos, and once again proved why he's considered one of the favorites for this year. What makes the victory especially important is the fact that it came at Pocono, a track that had previously eluded him. The win marked his first career victory at the Tricky Triangle and his 5th of the season. That's championship level consistency. Week after week, Justin Allgaier finds a way to put himself in a position to win races, whether it's a short track, intermediate track, super speedway, or a unique venue like Pocono. He always seems to be in the conversation. As we move deeper into the season, it's becoming harder and harder to find a driver with more momentum than Justin Allgaier. But while Saturday belonged to Allgaier, we move over to Sunday. Sunday belonged to one man, and that man was Denny Hamlin. But before we get on to that, let's talk about Allgaier for a little bit longer and the Junior Motorsports. Like I said, Allgaier is debating on what his future is for next season. Honestly, if you want to know my opinion, if he wins that 2nd championship this year, that'll be it. He'll move on. And he'll retire. Which is good because, I mean, man's in his 40s. The thing is like, Junior said this past weekend in a post-race interview, it's crazy with his career almost coming to an end that we didn't realize how good Justin Allgaier really is. And you know, I will say this. That's why I go back to my point of I truly believe your talent can show how really good you are when you're in really good equipment. No, like I said, no hate on Corey LaJoie because I got respect for him, but again, his talent showed when he got in really good equipment when he subbed in for Chase. And it may have been nerves. I will say that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It may have been nerves that because he knew he was in really good equipment that, you know, he didn't have a good run. It may have been. But I think with Allgaier, if you look at his Cup Series career, he was never really in stellar equipment. He was never really with a decent enough team to get good runs, to show his talent. No disrespect to Phoenix Racing, but they were a mid-tier team. They weren't Hendrick or Penske or RCR or Joe Gibbs. So, I mean, like, they had resources, but they didn't have resources, more or less. So, we didn't really get to see how good he could be in Cup. And honestly, even though it's been a one-off race, he's been pretty stellar both the 2 years that Junior's put a car in the Daytona 500. He's been pretty stellar in it. And he didn't really do too bad in the 48 when he was filling in for Bowman. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know if we actually know how good Allgaier really is. I mean, we're seeing it now because he's got the best equipment, in my opinion, that you could get in the O'Reilly series at Junior Motorsports. Because, I mean, let's be real. But the top teams in the O'Reilly series, honestly, is Junior Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, Hendrick's there, although they only got one car, RCR. So, I mean, like, that's why I believe if you're putting top-tier equipment and top-tier cars, I think your talent can show, and then it shows actually how good of a driver you really are. So, moving on, like I said, Sunday, Denny Hamlin and Pocono Raceway. Name a more iconic combination. The veteran driver once again reminded everyone why Pocono is his house. The man has 8 wins. Well, he said yesterday technically 9, but he got DQ'd. But they can't take the flag away from him. But the man had, whether it's 8 or 9, the man has multiple wins there. And yesterday showed why Denny Hamlin is on the roll he is on. Or not yesterday, this weekend. I'm sorry. This past weekend. Not yesterday. My apologies. But this past weekend, it showed why he is on the roll he is on. After winning at Nashville and Michigan, Hamlin arrived at Pocono with a chance to make history, and that's exactly what he did. Driving the number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, Hamlin scored his 3rd consecutive NASCAR Cup Series victory. He broke his own record. He had never won 3 in a row, and he did it this past weekend. And he also passed Kyle Busch for all-time wins with 64. 3 races, 3 wins, complete domination. I mean, let's be real. You can't say it's not really you can't say it ain't domination, but I mean the man had the car set up. He's on momentum. The longer the runs would go, the better his car got. I mean, yes, in that race this past Sunday, let's be real, okay? Seabell was rolling the dice. He was trying to fuel save. But Denny Hamlin, yes, that kind of helped Denny Hamlin catch him, but Denny Hamlin ran him down. Denny Hamlin led most of the day. So you can't say that he didn't dominate. And he knows how to get around Pocono. Like I said, he's been there 9 times, the victory lane 9 times. We're just going to go ahead and say 9 times, whether he got DQ'd or not. We'll say 9 times. But yes, the man knows his way around Pocono. The victory was also his 9th career Cup Series win. Well, 8th career in the books, but technically 9 Cup Series win at Pocono, extending his record as the winningest driver in track history. He broke the record, so you can call that place Denny's house. Just like when Jimmy Johnson would go to Charlotte and he would win there, like just dominate, win there, they ended up calling that Jimmy's house. I think we can name Pocono Denny's house. So, little fantasy advice for everybody. If Denny Hamlin, which he says he is, going to run again next year, but that'll be his last year. But whenever they go back to Pocono, whether they go back again this year or even next year, I might, if I'm y'all, would consider Denny Hamlin as a fantasy pick. That's just the freebie you'll get, because I do play fantasy, and I know my wife's going to watch this, and my friend Curtis is going to watch this, and my friend Marshall, that's all in the league with me, going to watch this. That's the only free one y'all get. If when you go to Pocono, Denny Hamlin's got to be on your thing. Throughout the weekend, like I said, Hamlin looked unstoppable, got the pole, dominated, and led laps. He qualified well, he led laps, he controlled the race, and when the pressure mounted late, He executed perfectly. This wasn't a fuel mileage victory. This wasn't a lucky strategy call. This was pure speed. Joe Gibbs Racing unloaded with one of the fastest cars in the field, and Hamlin did the rest. At this point, Denny Hamlin has firmly established himself as one of the championship favorites, and you cannot argue with that. That's all I'm saying. He's on momentum. Me and my wife were talking about it yesterday, or this past weekend. I believe the momentum that Denny Hamlin is on, he's going to win the championship this year. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I feel like this momentum he's got and what he's been through, he's championship favorite. I mean, and let's look at what he's been through. Okay? He had the lawsuit in 2311 with NASCAR, which you might as well say they pretty much almost won. They settled out of court. But I think it was a moral victory more than anything. Unfortunately, he lost his dad in the house house fire that they had at his parents' house. He lost, just like the rest of us, a long-time good friend and teammate. Well, was his teammate, but not anymore. Kyle Busch. The man is on momentum. The man is riding momentum. He is on it. So, we'll see how long that momentum carries him. Because let's be real, at the beginning of the year, I think when Tyler Reddick won 5 races, I think we were already saying Tyler Reddick's going to win the regular season title and have the number 1 spot going into the chase. But that momentum swing has shifted over. He had a top P2 finish yesterday, or this past weekend. I don't know why I keep saying yesterday. But anyways, this past weekend, I apologize again, but it was solid. So, we'll see what happens, but keep your eye on number 11. He said Sunday that, because they told him, they were like, hey, we're only 19 points out from the regular season title. He said, I don't care about that. All I care about is wins. And when a man, and in my opinion, when a driver says that, all I care about is wins, that makes him dangerous. So watch out for Denny Hamlin. And that would be a good question that everyone is asking, and it's simple. Can anyone stop Denny Hamlin? Because right now the answer appears to be no. So, alright, moving on. While Hamlin celebrated victory lane, another Toyota organization quietly had one of its best weekends in recent memory. Legacy Motor Club. May not have won the race, but they certainly got people's attention. Eric Jones showed tremendous speed throughout the weekend, and he finished P4. John Hunter Nemechek led the most laps that he's led in his Cup career with, I believe it was 36, and finished in it P6, So for much of Sunday's race, both legacy cars looked capable of running inside the top 10, and that is significant because I think people were starting to wonder, is Joe Gibbs Racing the only Toyota team that's going to dominate this year? And it may be still. It may be a battle between them and 2311. But I was impressed with Legacy Motor Club this past weekend. They ran solid. John Hunter Nemechek led, and Eric Jones finished P4. And look at Eric Jones now. He's inside the chase. If the chase were to start right now, Eric Jones would be in there. And honestly, if that would be impressive to me, and that would be a compliment and a successful season for Legacy, especially with how they've been running the past years, and they're trying to get things going. And now they got question too, because they're looking to go 3 cars next season with Riley Herbst possibly coming over. So I think there's big things in line for Legacy Motor Club, and they had a strong showing this weekend at Pocono. So we'll see what happens. The organization has gone through major changes over the last several seasons. There have been growing pains There have been difficult weekends, but now the partnership with Toyota, like I said, appears to be paying dividends. The technical alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing continues to help Legacy every week. The speed is becoming more consistent, the execution is improving, and the results are finally beginning to show. Could Legacy, like I said, Motor Club become a playoff spoiler later this season? Who knows? Like I said, Eric Jones is in there. He's in the top 16, so we'll see. And if they continue running the way they did this past weekend at Pocono, the answer could be absolutely yes. Alright, another big question that's on everyone's mind, I'm sure, is what is going on with the Ford camp? Let's talk about one of the biggest questions in NASCAR right now. And what I just said. What is going on with the Fords? Week after week, the Ford teams continue searching for answers. Team Penske has shown flashes of speed. Joey Logano's not having his best season this season. Cindric is, he's there, but he's not there. The only one that's showing speed and is there with consistent runs has been Ryan Blaney. RFK is pretty solid. They're having good runs. Brad Kay has gone through some issues these past few weeks. Getting wrecked out at Nashville, and then this past weekend getting wrecked out at Pocono. But Chris Buescher is showing solid consistency in the 17. Let's be real, Wood Brothers Racing hasn't been competitive. I think that organization has become more of a developmental for drivers. I mean, they haven't really had a win since last year with Josh Berry at Vegas. Other than that, they haven't been consistent. They don't even have really their own team shop anymore. Their alliance with Penske has gave them a shop where Penske works on their cars for them. And then you got the rumor going around that Josh Berry's not coming, which Josh Berry confirmed that he's not coming back to Woods Brothers next year. And the rumor is, too, that they're looking to manufacture change. I think the biggest issue appears to be long-run speed. While the Fords can qualify reasonably well, they often struggle to maintain pace over an entire run. Meanwhile, drivers from Toyota and Chevrolet continue to find their way to the front. The chase picture is beginning to tighten, and the summer stretch is underway. And if Ford hopes to compete for a championship, improvements need to happen soon. The talent isn't the problem, I don't think. The drivers are capable of winning. The organizations are capable. Penske's capable. The speed simply just hasn't been there where it needs to be. And that's a concern heading toward the most important part of the season. Now, let's move on from Pocono to the short track oval world. One of the coolest stories over the weekend came from the Cars Tour West Series as the man himself went back to victory lane. That's right, Happy Harvick. Kevin Harvick went back to victory lane in the Car West Tour. Even after stepping away from the full-time NASCAR competition, Harvick continues proving that great drivers never lose their touch. The former Cup Series champion climbed behind the wheel of his KHI 29 Chevrolet and delivered a winning performance. For a long time, race fans, it's a reminder of just how talented Kevin Harvick continues to be. Every time he straps into a race car, he remains a threat to win. It was a special moment for Kevin Harvick, for the series, and for race fans everywhere. Another driver celebrating this win in the car tour this year, in the Z-Max car tour, was Minnie Tyrell. Tyrell delivered an outstanding performance to capture the Cars Tour victory and continued building momentum during an impressive season. The Cars Tour continues showcasing some of the best short track talent in the country. And Tyrell's victory was another example of what the depth of competition throughout the series is and where it's at and where it's going. Winning in the Cars Tour is never easy. Every week the competition is fierce, and that's what makes victories like that one so meaningful. Congratulations Minnie Tyrell and Kevin Harvick and the entire teams on both sides for a fantastic performance this weekend, with Minnie Tyrell winning in the Z-Max Car Tour Series and Kevin Harvick getting it done in the Cars Tour West. Good job. Alrighty, so as we wrap up this edition of the CK Motorsports Full Throttle, let's look at the biggest winners from the weekend. Gio Ruggiero continues building his future with ARCA and slowly building his future in the Truck Series, Justin Allgaier continues to show why he's that good in the ARCA series or in the O'Reilly series, and why he's on his way possibly to another championship. Denny Hamlin extends his winning streak to 3 races and reminds everyone why Pocono is now his house. And Legacy Motor Club shows major signs of improvement. And Kevin Harvick, like I just talked about, returns to victory lane, and Minnie Tyrell scores a huge victory in Cars Tour. Meanwhile, concerns for the Ford camp continue searching for answers as Toyota and Chevrolet maintain the upper hand in the Cup Series. The summer racing season is heating up, and if this past weekend was any indication, we're in for a credible second half of the year. And don't forget, man, this weekend coming up, we're going to Naval Base Coronado for the first ever NASCAR race on a military base. And it's going to be a road course. So we'll see what happens with that. Alright, so with that being said, thank you guys again for tuning in for another edition of the CK Motorsports Full Throttle. I'm the boss man, CK, and if you enjoyed the show, again, always like, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to YouTube. Because like I said, I only do this for you guys, to show my passion for the sport just like you guys love. And with that being said, I'm the boss man, CK, and this is the CK Motorsports Full Throttle. And remember, we're always all gas, no brakes, and we're full throttle for Kyle. And I'll see y'all on the next one.